Okay, now we have our oVirt node installed. We've now logged into got to the oVirt node by logging into VM host 1 port 9090. So that's whatever IP or host you install it on, 9090. And we will click on reuse my password for privileged tasks. So you generally put in the root password here, and that will actually log us into Cockpit. Cockpit gives us an administrative interface, but more importantly, it will actually give us the hosted engine. So that will allow us to install the hosted engine, but there is some other parts of Cockpit which can be used for normal administrative tasks, or just to monitor our server. But where we'll go now is into hosted engine, and we'll start to install our hosted engine. Now, one of the things we've got to have is storage for a hosted engine. You could use Gluster. I'm not going to use that at this stage. It's just a little bit easier to use standalone storage. So I've actually got some NFS shares. So what we need on the NFS shares, we essentially need to install oVirt, you need 4 NFS shares. So you'll need one for the engine, you'll need one that's data. They seem to call it data. That's to hold your VMs. You can have multiple data partitions if you like to hold VMs or data shares. You've got an ISO share, and then you've got export. So the ISO is to hold ISOs that you may use to install, and then the export is where you export and import virtual machines. So we're going to start off here, and we're just going to install the hosted engine using the standard way, and we'll just go start here, and it brings up in a little bit of a wizard. So it says continue to create a VM engine afterwards. Are you sure you want to continue? We go yes. And do you want to install the hosted engine appliance? Yes, that's what we want to. The hosted engine is a little bit like VMware vCenter, and it allows you to manage all your virtual machines. You need that if it's just one standalone, or whether you've got multiple hosts. So I've actually got a number of hosts. So the first thing I do is to start up the engine and get that installed. So this may take a little while. I think at one stage here it starts downloading things. Okay, so now we've downloaded the oVirt engine appliance RPMs, and now we've just got to install them. So we'll click next, and it will take a little while to install. And we're just going to accept the key. And just waiting. So again here, we're just installing oVirt engine on a single host, and we are just installing the RPM. We're just going to wait until it finishes. Okay, we're finished now, and we've just got to choose our storage type. So I know that my storage type is NFS4, so I'm just going to click NFS4, just put 4 in there. It's very manual, typing it in, and specify full storage. Okay, so I know that my storage is on NAS 01, and we are at engine. So NAS 01/engine for the path. And we go next. I have found in the past that this is a little bit choosy on the NAS. It didn't like an older NAS. I'm not too sure why. It was just giving me really strange errors. I've got this NAS. It's still old, but it's still a little bit better, and it seems to work well. Okay, so IP tables. We'll just accept most of these defaults. We'll just configure it, default gateway, correct, and we're going to set, the EM1 is the actual main interface that I have connected, so I'm just going to allow that. It's sort of selected that automatically, so I'm just going to go next to that. oVirt engine OVA, we're just going to select the defaults on that one for selecting the OVA that it's given us. It's all very wizard based. It's all actually very easy. You're just going option by option, just putting in the options that it gives you. Most of the time you're actually just setting defaults. And as there, I had already set up in the background my shares. So as I was saying before, we've got shares for data, which will hold the VMs. We've got the engine, which holds the hosted engine. And we have an ISO share for the actual disks, which you might use for drivers or for booting servers, and then an export share, which is used for both importing and exporting virtual machines. And what have we got here? VNC. I actually like Spice. If you've got a Linux computer, or you install the Spice, what would you call it? If you've got a Linux computer, you use Virt Viewer, and I think you can install Virt Viewer on Windows as well. So I use pure Linux on the desktop. I use Spice. I find it works better with Firefox. Most of oVirt, in my experience, seems to work a little bit better with Firefox compared to using, say, Google Chrome. It was workable in Google Chrome, but I found especially things like running the remote viewers worked far better in Firefox. So I've just put in Spice as the remote connection protocol, and we'll move forward on that. Init appliance on first boot, we'll just accept that default. We'll generate a cloud image, not 100% sure what it's asking there. Okay. And we're looking, pleased to provide the fully qualified domain. Okay, so I call this vmengine.steel.home, and that will be the actual fully qualified domain of the VM engine. And we'll go next, and the domain is steel.home. Engine setup on first boot, yes. Restart engine. Okay, root password, so we'll just give it a root password, and we'll click next, and we'll confirm the root password, and we'll click next. Oh, didn't match. Let's try that again and concentrate. We'll go next and do it again, and go next. Okay, and empty this skip. If you want to enable SSH access, yes we do. 50, we'll just accept the defaults. I think for I have like 3 hosts max, maybe more later and maybe less at the start, so I'll just accept that for now. And specify the memory. Now this is too much, that would use the entire host memory. I've only got a few hosts, so I'm just going to go 4096 as the starting memory. You can actually adjust that later on if you wish. And I think I just accept the default for my CPU type. And I'll just give it 2 virtual CPUs, and just accept the generated MAC, and we will go static. So here I'll go static, so I can actually select the IP address later on. So here it'll probably come back asking for an address to set, and we'll give it that address. Okay, it's picked up my local domain name service, which I just accept defaults, and Okay, we don't need anything, etc. hosts. Engine admin password. So this is different to the root password we set before. SMTP server, won't really worry about that. You could set that, you can also set that later if you wish. And confirm the installation settings, so you can scan through the installation settings, make sure they're looking all right, that you've made no mistake. We've got the right gateway address, the right storage domain, we've set it to 50, host ID 1, NASO 1 engine, console type QXL, memory 4 gigs, and we're going to go yes to confirm, and it should install. Now, most of the time this will just install fine. And previously when I had the older NAS, this is where I would start getting errors, but I expect this just to work fine. Okay, so the hosted engine is successfully completed. That'll be the end of this video, and I'll create another video on logging into the hosted engine and configuring it for the first time. That's all. Thank you.